Because we're live on Facebook. I'll share screen. Screen should be shared. I don't see it on mine yet.
You say hi to Kenny.
How do you see that? How many? Oh. I think now we're seeing. There.
No.
I love it. I love it. We are just, we have multiple guests tonight. So anyway, Haley, here we are again with our the star of our show, Riley Kate, is back there in the background, and will make an appearance, I know, shortly. Can you believe we're on episode 6 already?
That's crazy. How awesome. Thank you guys for getting us this far. We've had fun. And guys, we have a special guest with us today. This is Lauren Tarquinio. And of course, you're on field trialing with Haley and Kenny. Thanks for joining us today, Lauren.
Sure, no problem.
All right. So we're gonna ask Lauren a couple questions, figure out like how she got started in field trialing and all that good stuff. So Lauren, how did you get started in field trialing?
So my husband and I always had bird dogs. We actually started with, we had 2 Weimaraners at the time, and we were going back and forth just last night trying to remember. I believe it was 2007. And we were watching TV, and I think Randy said this last week, we saw, some field trialing going on TV. And as soon as we saw it, we were hooked. So they had a show. I think it was Bird Dog Circuit at the time, the organization. And we're watching it, and it was just really cool. It was just, some guys out hunting with their dogs and making a competition out of it. So lo and behold, my husband says, I want to do that. And he looks at me and says, we can do that. And I thought he was crazy. I'm like, these people are like celebrities,
Yeah.
And sure enough, when he says he's going to do something, he's going to do it. So we found a local event, actually, probably within an hour here in Pennsylvania. And it's just a small event. Like I said, I believe this was back in 2007. And at that time, it was Nux. It was Upland Classic. So I just spectated. I went and watched my 2 Weimaraners compete with my husband, and it was a lot of fun. It was a small event, but a lot of fun. And, everybody was really helpful. And then the next one, we found another one in West Virginia, and that was the first one. They had a doubles event. So he said, we're going to be doubles partners. And I was like, what, pretty nervous about it, but, it was a lot of fun. And I mean, the people that we met were just amazing. Everybody was super helpful. They know it's your first time. It's unbelievable how many, nice people that you meet, and they're willing to help. Everybody's competitive, and sure, they want to go out and win, but they want to help you. So I met Eric Wagner. He's from Ohio at one of our first events. And Jeremiah Moore, he's from West Virginia. They helped us so much along the way. I mean, from giving us tips. Also, I definitely wanted to mention Roger Johnson. I know a lot of people that have been doing this a long time know that name. He's an older gentleman. He actually is passed away now. But he had helped us so much. I mean, from, just teaching us the game to, helping us with what kind of ammo to use, and, what works best for you and your gun, and training the dogs and shooting tips. I mean, it is just amazing how much, those guys have helped us. So, I mean, we were hooked, after 1 or 2 times. We might not have done great our first time, but it was just so much fun, and we were hooked. So we've been doing it ever since.
Ooh, I have a question, Haley, because this kind of goes back to something that we talked to Randy about last night and or last week. Now, I just have to know, do you and Brandon get in any discussions while you're running doubles?
Randy said dynamic.
Dynamic, yeah, there you go.
Dynamic discussions, yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
So in the doubles field, it's funny because in pointing doubles, we kind of try to go our separate ways and then we'll try to meet up to get our backs. Because when you're doing doubles pointing, each dog can get credit for honoring another dog's point. So we have to meet up eventually to get our bags. But other than that, we try to stay clear. Now, doubles flushing, you hunt more together and it's one dog and you're hunting together. So yeah, sometimes it goes really well and perfect. And sometimes it's like, get over there, you get on your side. It gets pretty interesting.
Well, doubles are, shall we say, wild anyway. And so you just add that dynamic discussions in there where that's what makes it fun. So.
Yeah.
It rarely perfect. When it goes perfect,
Oh.
sometimes you make it look easy, but most of the time it gets pretty interesting.
Yeah.
I always find the best laid plans go out the window the minute that you turn the dogs loose in doubles, because they have minds of their own.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Wow.
And
I actually remember my very first field trial that I ran, the very first time that I ran women's. You and Sipes's wife, she still ran at that time, and oh my gosh, I can't remember her name now. Oh goodness, short hair. Anyways, but you guys helped me so much. I was so lost. Like I had ran like 4 trials.
Diana. Was it Diana?
Diana Kiesel. Yeah, that's right. It was her. But like you two just like came right up to me and was like, "Hey, I'm Lauren and Diana," and it was just like, it was funny because I still have a picture. Clint had taken a picture and was like, "She met friends already." Like he just sat in the truck and left me because I had made some friends and I talked to you guys and you guys are all competing against me, but it was no pressure. Like you guys were more than welcome to help me, show me the ropes. And even so, Lauren and I run against each other in the women's flushing. And then I've ventured out into the women's pointing some. I'm not there yet because I'm a flushing girl, but I do okay with Mr. Kenny's dog. We're getting there. We're getting there.
We're working on it. We're teaching her some of the fine points, Lauren, of pointing, like the dog has to point before you can flush with and shoot it, so.
I forgot that last year.
We're working on it.
Yeah.
I forgot that last year and I turned around in the field and looked at Mr. Kenny and was like, what? And the judge looked at me and he said, "Remember, Haley, this is pointing, not flushing." And I was like, "Yeah, about that." Sorry. I was like, "Do I get credit for any of that?" And he goes, "No, you just got deemed an extra shout."
And it's all learning the game. I mean, you think and then you go out and every time something different happens. So
yeah.
I always say that, like, when new people come, it's like if you don't help them and teach them, we're not going to have any competition. You have to have competition to make it fun.
They won't come back. You're exactly right.
Yeah, in the gallery, Kenny had said when he came over to the women's side the one year at Nationals, how much fun he had. And we're over there chit-chatting, telling each other, "I like your hair, you look great." Next thing we want to beat you, we're going to help you, but you have to have that competition, I think, to make it fun, So.
Absolutely. And people say girls are so catty, but I'll have to say, I think the women's of all of the whole program is the least drama. Like it goes so smoothly. Like we never have any issues in women's other than it rains.
Right.
On us, of course, but it's good. But when we do have that little whatever in the whole trial, it keeps it interesting.
Right. You always have something,
Always.
You all definitely have the most fun. There's no doubt about that. Because it's of all the trials that I've watched at Nationals, that was the most fun I'd ever have watched and enjoyed it, because y'all were having fun. Now competitive, that might have been off the chart, but you were having fun.
So I think for like the past couple years, Lauren and I have swapped places. So like 4 years ago, I got first and third and Lauren got second. Then the next year, Lauren got first and second. I think I got fourth, and then so on. And then I got first place and Lauren got second and third. And then this past year, Lauren got first place and second place in the women's flushing, and I got third. And Lauren also was a second in women's pointing. So she done really well for herself this past year at nationals.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Now,
Regardless, like I said in that post, regardless of how much we're competing against one another, it's never been like, nothing's never been, I mean, we be maybe neck and neck, like one shot bird point away, and we're still like, all right, go girl, have a good time. You're like, we're like, hype girls.
Right.
And everybody is, they're like, all right, get it. And you come on the field and they're like instantly, like, congratulations. Like, who's won it as soon as you come out, because we're
Right.
all, you've all got your points scored up already, and then
Right.
you come out. And I like that. That is what has kept me hooked. And like, it sunk that, through that reel, and it sunk my bait the very first time I ran women's. I did okay for my first time. I got ninth. I was on top of the world with that. I'd never shot a shotgun until a year prior. So yeah, but for everyone to be nice and welcoming and want to help, like literally, like they come out of film like, hey, did you know you could have done this? I'm like, no, thank you.
Yeah.
Because now I know.
Hey, about everybody being so supportive, even the guys, because it is predominantly, men. We're getting more and more women involved now, but that was always my kind of self-conscious, like, everybody's looking at me because I'm, a girl out here. And honestly, the guys have been so supportive. They want to help you. They want to see you do well.
Absolutely.
And before I started running actually in UFTA, I was going and watching Brandon, my husband, all the time. And I was taking pictures because the dogs are like my kids. So I was constantly just taking pictures from the gallery. And finally he said, why don't you learn to judge? You're here anyway. You should learn to judge. And I said, absolutely not. I'm not doing that. I was, am I going to be like responsible for, something that goes wrong? And I thought, first thing I thought is people are going to yell at me, because think of a sporting event. They yell at the referee, right? Everybody yells. The referee's never right. So I'm like, no way. People are going to yell at me. I'm not doing that. And he's like, he finally, just to shut him up, I was like, I will try it. And he said, just try it. If you don't like it, you don't have to do it. Finally, I'm like, I will try it. And once I tried it, I was like, oh my gosh, I got to see the dogs up close and personal. I learned the rules so much better. So I was always judging. And then it was like, okay, wait a minute, I could do this, I'm gonna start shooting too. I could do this. So, that's kind of a little bit background of how I got started as well. And when we went to our first nationals, actually, I think it was 2009, we went to our first UFTA nationals. We went just for amateur. Amateur is like the beginning of the week. It's a week-long event at nationals for people that don't know. And amateurs at the beginning of the week, it's only 3 days. And the whole rest of the week, other events go on. So we had puppies at the time. We only qualified them for amateur. We ended up calling work after the third day, took the rest of the week off. This is in Alabama. We're from Pennsylvania, so we're 12 hours away. We called work. We took the rest of the week off. We just stayed for the whole week. I mean, just to, hang out and watch, and we loved it, So, I mean, it's just been great ever since.
That's awesome.
Haley, I have to tell this on Lauren now because we haven't said this tonight, but she is on the UFDA rules committee.
I was literally just about to say that.
About to go that. Well, when I called her night before last, I think whatever day it was this week, that I called to ask if she would, come on the show. She didn't call me back to the next day. And then
that wasn't on purpose.
Yeah, I know. She called me back the next day, but what she said was a hoot. She said, I thought you wanted some ruling on on some rule. And I thought, not this time, but you're subject to get, she's had calls from me before about, okay, here's what happened. What do we do? So she does more in judging. She's very instrumental in some of our interpretations, which I had the great pleasure of serving on year before last on the trial committee at nationals. And there are a lot of interpretations that are just not in that rule book.
Yeah, we have a rule book, and you would think everything's black and white in that rule book, and you always have something that happens. It's like, and that's why we have a committee, and we get together and we're like, okay, where does this fit into one of these rules? What fits the closest? Because there's always going to be a gray area. So we kind of put our heads together and figure out what's the fairest decision.
Right.
I will say everything is generally, I've never had any call that was made that wasn't fair. Like that is always, the committee does a great job at making all decisions fair. And I think you guys do a really good job.
There was a time, Lauren, when I first started, that it was interesting to hear you say that when you started judging, you started learning about how the game is played and all of that. And that was back when we could ride with the judges. And I just would go get in a cart with a judge, and because I'd ask questions. I mean,
Right.
I'd have these questions that I'd seen something happen or had it happen to me, and I would ask about it. And that's how I really learned all of it. It was so helpful to see something occur and then get it explained to you. This is what happened and what you should do. Most of the time for me, it's what you should have done.
Right.
That's me.
Yeah. Cool.
Well, even judge, you know, you're on this end of it judging, and then you get out in the field with your dog, and then it's like you forget, like, wait, what am I supposed to do? Dude, I've had times where I'm in the field hunting with my dog goes on point, and the judge counts to 3, so you have to make sure you have a good point. And I started counting for my own dog, and I turned to the judge, I said 1001, 1002. And then I was like, oh, wait. I turned to the judge. I was like, I'm sorry. I'll let you do that.
Oh, wow. Wow. Haley, I gotta switch gears a little bit. Lauren, tell us about your dogs. I mean, I know we watch them and all, and then I have another little story I have to tell on Lauren and Brandon, but go ahead. Tell us about your dogs and the ones you have and you run, and the one that's there with you that I got to see a little bit ago. Yeah.
Yeah, one was just wanted to be on camera here a minute ago, one of the old dogs. So now I have 6 German Shorthair pointers and 1 lab. So 2 of the German Shorthairs are older. They're 12 years old, pretty much retired. That's who was just over here whining and wanted to see who I was talking to. But so we run pointing and flushing. You know, we started with the pointing. You know, most of the trails around us were pointing trails. And then actually, it's not very far away. Ohio has a lot of flushing trails. So we, before we got our own lab or flushing dog, we used to run a friend of ours. He's actually from Florida. We hunt with him a lot, and we go to Florida and visit him a lot. And so he would come to nationals, and I would run his dogs in the women's flushing. And we ended up getting a puppy out of him, which is now our black lab, Izzy. So she's our only flushing dog right now. She is 6 years old, I believe. So we're going to have to get another one here soon. But yeah, I mean, they range from, our youngest one's a year old, Quinn. She's just getting started this year, and, you know, all the way up to 12 years old. Some of them have done very well. I'll brag a little bit about my Raz. He's won nationals a few times. So Stella's won amateur pointing at nationals just this last year. So very well. Yeah, we're real happy with them. It keeps it, you know, keeps it fun.
It does. Now, I need.
Last week, when you get your butt kicked, you're still out there having.
That's right. Even when you get your butt kicked, it's still, well, I had fun at least.
Right.
Haley, I think I want to use her logic of when they get about 6, it's time to get another one.
Yeah.
I wonder if that would work for me, because I think I have one at 6, and 6 are about to be 7, and I certainly need one. Which the litter, Lauren, that you all had a litter of puppies. Was it last year or the year before? Last year.
We had one. That's we kept Quinn out of that litter, so
Yeah.
she's a little over a year.
Haley, I kept seeing Lauren would post these pictures of these puppies, and I kept watching it, and I kept watching those, and they're gorgeous looking. And I knew I knew Mom and Daddy, I knew what all they'd done, and nothing. And I would get to the phone to call Lauren or Brandon and say, I want one of us. She'd have a picture out, and I want this one. Let me have this. And then I better not, I don't. Then a little bit later, I'd go back. But Lauren, you know how many times I went to the phone to dial to say, save this one for me, because I will tell y'all, they were a gorgeous litter of puppies.
Thank you.
Well, good, Haley. Anything final for Lauren? I mean, this has been great. We've kept her a little longer than we might have, but we had a whole lot of good stuff here to talk
We
about.
do all right, good stuff. One thing I want to see a lot that it seems like you kind of like walk out your back door and do like some wild pheasant hunting.
Well, not so much. We do training out of our back door. But we actually, it's season right now here in Pennsylvania. So we belong to a club that stalks actually 3 times a week. We don't have wild pheasants here in Pennsylvania, unfortunately.
Oh, okay. You
They
had me
stalk,
fooled.
yeah, they stalk pheasants like 3 times a week where we can go and hunt them. Now, my husband Brandon just got home from South Dakota where he was hunting wild pheasants. I was supposed to go, and at the last minute, my old dog had a little fall, and I felt so bad leaving him, so I ended up staying home with him. But hopefully, I'll get out there next year. But yeah, there's unfortunately not wild pheasants around here. We do have some grouse, some rough grouse. So that's pretty much, the only other, and ducks, of course, ducks and geese. But as far as upland bird, we have grouse around here. That's about it. But we do
Okay.
training though.
That's awesome. I just see lots of pictures of pheasant, and so I was like, goodness, it just looks like, I
Yeah.
didn't know that they, well, it's very hard here. It's so hot. Like you guys have a much different climate. So
Right.
like we had a pheasant hunt or veterans pheasant hunt this past Saturday, and there was pheasants everywhere. Saturday evening, Sunday, and then Monday there was one out by the road when I left to go to work. But now they're all gone, like
Yeah.
nowhere to be found. They
We
can't.
really we belong to a club. It's called Fairbanks Rod and Gun Club, and it's only about 20 minutes from my house. And like I said, they stock Saturday, Sunday, and Wednesday. So it's 150 birds a week they're stocking, and I mean it's great, especially for your dogs, for you to just get out. Sometimes I'll take an hour vacation from work and go in the morning and hunt with the dogs, or maybe go at the end of the day. But yeah, it's a good time.
Oh, that's cool.
Wow. Well, that is convenient. So, Lauren, let me say thank you so much for being with us tonight. This has been fun and informative, and just a great time. And we appreciate your time, and certainly we'll look forward to seeing you. Now we got Brandon back from South Dakota, and he won't be rubbing it in. He's out there maybe anymore. We'll see you all at the trial very shortly.
Yeah, he's home now and actually been deer hunting every night. We both do archery, so it's archery season here now. So we've been doing some deer hunting, but yeah, we actually we're going to a trail this weekend. We try to do the Flushing and Pointing trail, so we're going to Ohio this weekend. So
good, you're going down the colder place.
Say though to women, because we're always trying to get new people to try this field trialing, and the organization that the three of us do mostly is UFTA. But to the women that want to try it, I mean, I was scared to death at first, and I'm sure most women are, and everybody is just so helpful and so supportive. If you have a bird dog and you like being in the outdoors, everybody is just so willing to help. And it's funny because I think just being a woman, there's a lot more emotion. Not that men aren't emotional, but sometimes our emotions get the best of it. And I just wanted to share a real quick story with you. At Nationals this year, I came out of the field, and it was after my very first run, and I was having a great run going, and my last shot, I picked my head up off the gun and missed the bird. And I come out of the field, and I was so mad at myself. I mean, I was fighting back tears, and and that just proves like heart and soul is not into it. I'm fighting back tears, and I wouldn't even talk to my husband. Sometimes we have that rule. It's like, if I'm looking like that, don't even talk to me right now.
Anything.
And a good friend of mine, Eddie Carbon, you guys probably know him. He comes up to me and literally is practically yelling at me, but he's like, pick your head up right now. He's like, look at me. And here's me, like, literally fighting back tears. I'm like, I just blew it. I can't believe I did that. What is wrong? And he's like, listen to me. He's like, you are a great competitor. You're a great shot. He goes, you have 2 more dogs to run. You need to get back out there right now. And I was like, he's like yelling at me right now. Literally tears, and was like, you know what, he's right. Like, if my husband would have just said that to me, I would have probably been screaming back at him, And I was like, okay, he's right. And I got out there the next time and I literally got to the start gate, like, deep breath, I could do this, let's just have fun. And that ended up being, the run that I won with. And so I have to give Eddie a thanks, but, give him a shout out. But everybody is like that. Everybody is just so supportive. So, if you're doubting that you can do it, we're here to help you. So.
Great.
The guys are really big supporters of us. It's funny, like we used to have like a couple, they stand back, like Clint usually would not even come over and watch. And too, because I always run Bella, our old dog. She's almost 13. So like if Clint's around, I've ran a trial before and Clint was supposed to be in the truck at home and he got out because he wanted to watch. Bella left the field where I just shot her a bird and took that bird all the way to the truck up the hill to Clint. And I just walked out of the field. I was so mad. I was like, you were supposed to stay in the truck. Because I had just started. And so that's his baby. But
Right.
So used to, he wouldn't even come. He was afraid of that. And then two, just like you said about Brandon, it's that significant other thing. Like if they just know what to say.
Right.
But if someone else says it, we're like, okay, we got this.
And that was perfect, just coming from somebody else, and I thanked him later and he was like, what did I say? I'm like, you don't even like, and I was like, I just want to thank you because, I told Brandon, just walk away from me. I'm mad at myself right now, but yeah. And that's one thing about, and I'm sure you and Clint do this too. It's like, we go to trials and it's like, okay, what dogs you running this weekend? And I do got to give my husband credit too, because I always say, okay, well, this dog's doing really good in points. Maybe you should run him. And he always lets me pick. He's like, you pick whatever dogs you want to run. And he pushes me and he's like, you do just fine. He's like, so I can't even say I have this dog that I always run or I have this dog. And because he's always like, you pick whatever dogs you want to run. So that makes it really nice too.
That's awesome.
Cool.
So he is supportive. I might get mad at him sometimes, but
Oh, wow.
Oh yeah. And then when we were practicing, Clint will like go out like when we were just working dogs, no trialing because you can't run the collars trialing, but and he's like, he always asks, he's like, do you want me to put the collar on her? I'm like, yeah, because he doesn't want to like step on my toes. Like, do you want me to correct her? But he wants to make sure. So I'm like, yeah. And then he comes with me like, you better not come back with 3 birds in that bag. So I'm like, well, I don't plan not to. So it's that little extra pump. And then I'm like, okay, I really got to do good now because he's watching me.
Right.
Oh my, Lauren, again, thank you so much. This has been a great pleasure. We really appreciate your time and we will see you soon.
All right. Thanks for having me.
Right.
Thank you, Lauren.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Okay. Haley, what a great job.
That was awesome. I'm so glad she joined us.
Yes, she is fun and she's good at what she does. She's good at trialing and it's just, it was great to have her on. That was so fun. I think you have some numbers from the people that are viewing us. So tell us what those are.
Guys, how awesome. Since last week, we have reached 9,208 people in the last 28 days. That is phenomenal to me. That is so cool. That's 1,000 more than last week. And that's a big chunk of change. We are at 345 likes and 381 follows. So we are well over halfway to our 500 goal of likes by Thanksgiving. So we have 2 weeks-ish till Thanksgiving?
2 weeks or so, yes. Oh, yeah.
So guys, we want to encourage you to please share our page and like us. Make sure you are liking our page, not just liking our videos and posts that we do. I mean, when you do share it, you're getting the word out to other people. We've had several people I've had comment on here and be like, hey, what's a field trial? I'm like, hey, come watch. But, they're big hunters, deer hunters. They know what to do, but they've just never done it. And so I think that's cool. Someone that watched our show got a little interest in it. And that's our whole point. Is we want to reach more people, we want to get more people involved, and we want to encourage others to try it.
Absolutely. Now, I have one thing to say about the likes. Haley has challenged me a little bit here. For all those people in Kentucky and Tennessee, I get this text last night, and she points out that there's a larger number of likes to field trial with Haley and Kenny in Alabama than there are in Kentucky and Tennessee. So all of you in Kentucky, Tennessee, you're going to help me out here a little bit, and let's see if we can't bring that up, because we can. I think we can get as many as Haley has in Alabama. So
Did we just start up another competition?
Might have. Might have.
Come on, Enterprise in Alabama. I got some friends in Dothan too. Come on now, like our page.
Cool. Well, we'll move. Those are great numbers, Haley, and we're so thankful for everybody and what they're doing to watch us. As we kind of, neither one of us, as we said many times, ever done this, and but we're enjoying it, and so we're just grateful that everybody tunes in and watches which button I'm going to punch this week. So,
Mr. Penny, we have some questions, or not questions, but aren't you going to tell us about something to do with Bass Pro and Cabela?
Yes, I am. One of the things we want to do is talk about some of our outdoor stores, and we'll talk about these as we go along, and then we'll kind of ultimately, we thought it would be better to talk about them and give you all some information about them, and then kind of do our poll at the end instead of the beginning. So if you have some suggestions of outdoor stores that we need to do some research on and talk about on the show, tell us. We're going to start with Bass Pro Shop / Cabela's. I did some work, some research. This is very interesting, and many of you may know some of this, but a lot of it I didn't. Bass Pro Shops was founded in 1972 by Johnny Morris. If you've ever, the fishing equipment, you see a lot of his names on some of their equipment. They have 177 locations nationwide, which I didn't realize they had that many. I knew they had a lot. Now that includes 82 Cabela stores. As many know, they purchased Cabela's in 2017. Here's what really jumped out at me, though. People can talk about outdoors and us that love the outdoors, but they don't think about how much that outdoors people contribute to the economy.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. At Bass Pro Shops alone, they do $8 billion, that's with a B, dollars of revenue. That's what they did in 2018. $8 billion. They have 40,000 employees. And so that's huge to our economy and to people in many of these, many of these locations, jobs and everything else, and for all of us. The other part I found really interesting, in 2017, when Bass Pro Shops acquired Cabela's, they paid $5.5 billion for it. Now that's all from, now let me just say, all of my information is coming from Wikipedia. So that's the source. If you have any, if you find something on there that you like, I think these numbers are different, but and one of my destinations, one of my bucket list destinations is the Pyramid in Memphis. It is the largest outdoor store in the world, and Bass Pro Shop, those who don't know, that was built for a basketball arena, performance arena, and Bass Pro Shop bought it and converted it into an outdoor store with a hotel inside and a restaurant and all kinds of things. So as soon as we get the virus over, when we travel again, it's on the top of my list to visit.
That's awesome.
Haley, we talked a little bit about this, but your experience, I know you talk a little bit about sort of where Bass Pro Shops have helped you all with, been convenient for you.
So Bass Pro is kind of like one of those things. It's a treat for us because we don't have one in town, or we live in the country. Obviously, we in a very rural area. So Bass Pro, like when we're on the way to nationals or when we are on the way to a bigger trial, we generally stop at a Bass Pro. There's one in Prattville on the way up on the left. We always stop, or a Cabela store. And it's one of those stores, that you can take your dogs inside. And so we generally take a dog in, just because you don't always get to take a dog in a store, and they allow that. And we have fun, even if we don't even buy anything in the store. We just enjoy looking at it. They're the cleanest, nicest, most organized stores. They have anything from, we have some super nice plates inside our house that came from Bass Pro. They're my favorite plates. And they're very fitting. They're like my favorite color, that turquoise with brown, and they're very rustic that fits Clint. So from stuff like that to all of my she camo that I got for turkey hunting and dove hunting came from Bass Pro. And not everywhere carries she camo, and not very many places carry stuff for women.
Right.
Since I first started field trialing in 2015, the amount of women gear at Bass Pro and Cabela's has greatly increased. It used to be just in kids, and I'm short, so I can sometimes fit in like the little boys stuff, and so it was okay. But pants don't fit good because I'm a girl, not a boy. But they have definitely helped with socks and shoes apparently. And like around here, to find like good muck boots or stuff like that, you have to order them online or get a boy size basically around here. And so Bass Pro has all the great muck boots. That's my favorite shoe because at no time do I get wet, and then they're also high enough because, like I said, here in Alabama it's hot. So I always like to tuck my jeans into my boots just in case if I run across a little friend. My legs are protected, and sand spurs and thorns does help as well. And then they also have lots of upland gear as far as vests, and then they'd also have pennies, it's just very light, just an orange color if you were to go in the dove field. And I found that very helpful many times, especially, and then leads. And actually the last time I went to Bass Pro, I walked by this beautiful gun case. I love leather. And it was this beautiful brown and gun case, and it was leather, had leather like embroiderment pretty much on it. And I was like, man, that's so pretty. And I didn't have anything but a gun stock at the time, and I really needed something. And lo and behold, Clint snuck it, and that was one of my Christmas presents, was a beautiful gun case. And it was something I needed, and it was just convenient. And then they also have fishing gear and all kinds of stuff. Yeah. What about you, Kenny? How they helped you guys?
I bought from Bass Pro Shops forever, but I think it is the convenience of having stores, the number of stores. When you were talking about stopping and when you needed something, I remember John and I on the way to Nebraska to hunt, and he amazingly forgot his boots. And so in St. Louis, we're in Bass Pro Shop looking for a new pair of boots, and and you can find sizes and all those things with it. So that convenience, when you can't order it offline, when you're out there in the truck headed somewhere, that's really neat. So very with it. Well, anyway, great, good discussion on Bass Pro Shops. I know most of you probably out there have used them, but just some information from us on them, and thought you would like to know. I want to give it, if you have another store that we should look up, do some research on, and talk about, please tell us. I want to give a shout out especially to Corey Bigelow. Corey said, be sure to include gun dog supplies. Corey also sent us a product. We're not going to tell you what it is. It is the neatest product that upland bird hunters should have. And we're going to get that on soon. But Corey, thank you for that. David Bird, one of my good friends in Texas, told us about First Light, and we'll look up and then tell you some more about them. That was a new one to me. Haley knew about it. Mm-hmm. And then I want one more shout out to our Glamour Glass One here that provided Haley and I with our cups that you'll see us sipping out of as we kind of move through. So anyway, good discussions. Let me move quickly here. I was at the Illinois Open this weekend. Part of the reason my voice is a little raspy. I had a couple of dogs that had hearing problems, I think. So I'm having a little challenge with my voice. But Mike Guerin won the Open there. It was a great fun. It was hot. But we had a good trial, a lot of fun. Two opens, open Saturday and Sunday, and those were added together to get the Illinois champion. And of course, we had 4 amateur, 2 on Saturday and 2 on Sunday as well. So, and I know you all had a trial at Shiloh.
We did. We had a trial Saturday and Sunday. I'm sorry, we had a pheasant hunt Saturday, our WWVC Veterans Appreciation Pheasant Hunt. It was a wonderful turnout. We had so many veterans actually show up. Many of our sponsors came. It was a lot of fun. Daylight savings time has happened, so it gets daylight a lot quicker. So one of my favorite things to do is after the hunt is over to go clear the, hunt all the extra birds that get by. And we got to do that a little bit. So pheasants were in play on Sunday, just like the Nationals, because we cleared the fields twice and there was still, it's just crazy to me. Like we cleared the fields twice and then we got there and run in the middle, like the 11th dog of the day ran over a pheasant in the middle zone of the middle. And I'm like, I've been in that spot 4 times already. Like, no one saw him walk, but it was up and it counted because, like at Nationals, when we were at the shooting preserve in Illinois, pheasants are in play because they are a preserve. So that was fun. It kept it interesting. And then when we got done with our trial, we actually went and hunted the rest of them. That's why I'm still hoarse, because shooting pheasant, they're a lot of a harder bird to kill than quail. And you can get a good bullet in them and they'll still fly to basically Tennessee from here. So that was fun. But this, it was Valley got first place in the open with Clint. And then Ellie's Mr. Don's dog, but Matthew Thomas actually ran her and got second place in the open. And Briggs with Clint got third place. In the doubles, Banks with Mr. Don and Scotty got first place. And Shallow, which is Matthew Thomas and Jonathan Thomas, those are brothers, second place. And then my dog Rose got third in doubles with me and Chase Payne.
Cool.
So we had a good turnout.
Good. Go, Don. All right. Let's see here where we are on high points standings. For the pointing division, open pointing, Trooper is in first place. That's Randy Hilligus' dog, and Randy's dog Holler is also in second. And Brandon's dog and Lauren's dog Stella is in third. Amateur pointing, Trent Pike is still in first, but it is tightened way up. It's gotten close because Robert Russell with Rock is in second, and Dave Trigg with Bodie is in third. And let's see, doubles pointing. We have Karma and Trooper with dogs of Randy Hilligus. And I know Nate runs with him. Bo and Mags of Butch White. And then Maddie, owned by Martin McVeigh, and Murphy, owned by Doc Mash, are in third place.
All right. Well, in Flushing high points, I would say from 4th to 20th has really shaken up. Throughout the week, it's funny, you check your points and you have someone else sitting in second and like another person's in third and fourth, and then another trial gets submitted and the other person that was in second now comes back up in second. So in open Flushing, first we have Thor with Eddie Carbon, second is Midas with Eddie Carbon, and third is Don Hunter with Dakota. And right after that is Briggs, which is Clint's dog, and they have flip-flopped. Him and Don have flip-flopped for the past 2 weeks. It's like one gets first place, and the other one gets second place, so then they stay. And then the other one gets first place, and the other one gets like third place. And it's big enough trials that it makes that perfect little flip-flop. And then doubles high points, Flushing. You still have Eddie Carbon with Thor and Hercules in first and second, and then Creek with Cross Paintas in third. And same thing, all those dogs underneath there has really shaken up a good bit. And the closer it gets to Nationals, I'm sorry, for the end of the year, because what points are the last trial can't be happening until December something? December
30, I think it's 31st at the end of the year.
31st, so end of the year. Yes, the end of the year. That makes sense. But yeah, I'm interested to see how everything turns out.
Yeah, we have races going on all over the place and tight ones, which is great. For everybody, upcoming trials this week, Liberty Pointing, these are pointing trials at Liberty Corner up in Virginia, Richard Sykes Place, Buck Valley, and I'll be going to Buck Valley to tell you a little bit more about that. I will be running mostly Flushing at Buck Valley. Boogie and Bandit are going with me. So we're just getting them ready for the for the Foggy Bottom Classic. I'm getting just a little extra work on them before we get there. So
That's right.
but that's again in Illinois. Larry Reed runs that. The Billy Ring Classic down in Alabama. Bill Ellison runs that one. And then Wiley's Rough on Birds Farm in Georgia, and that's Tommy Wiley that does that one. So those are 4 pointing trials that are coming up this coming weekend.
All right. And then at Buck Valley, they also have some flushing this weekend, and that was in Marshall, Illinois. And then also Fairchild's Pheasant Farm. They have pointing and flushing as well, and that's in West Liberty, Ohio. You can contact Colin Fowler for that. Then we also have a trial this weekend. It'll be an open and flushing each day. And then Hanson Outfitters also has pointing and flushing this weekend as well.
Good, great. Haley, another fun show, and Lauren was great. What a wonderful experience and guest, and we actually had the judge on with us for the first time, and all those kinds of things. So let me just say, in the interest of time, thanks to everybody that watched and that watches us. It was our pleasure to do this. Don't forget, hit that like button on our page. We're working on that 500 number by Thanksgiving. We have it in sight, and we want to do that. And again, all those in Kentucky, Tennessee, let's be sure we get our numbers up with those Alabama numbers. So.
Hey. All right, guys.
All right, Haley.
Well,
Join us. Everybody join us. Yep, we're good to go. Everybody join us next week, next Thursday, 7:30 Central, 8:30 Eastern on Field Trialing with
Haley and
Kenny. Thanks, everyone.
bye, y'all. See y'all next Thursday.